Welcome back, everyone, to Talking It Out with Bachelor Nation. This week, we are talking to Nate, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Everybody has a million questions to ask this man, and we are going to get down to the bottom of everything. And, you know, Nate has just been someone that we've really been looking forward to having on for a while now, and we're excited. Mike, what about you?
We have wanted Nate for some time. So, I mean,
yes,
we got him now. So we're definitely going to ask all the questions. I find that Nate is extremely top tier quality when it comes to word choice. And
he has the gift of the gab, as they say.
He has a gift of the gab, and I'm making sure
yes.
I'm listening to every single word as well. But before we bring in Nate and have him talk it out, let's get to the hot takes.
All right, my man. So we only got one hot take today, but it's a doozy. All right.
It's a juicy one.
Yes, it is a juicy one. And it is related to the latest episode, Fantasy Suites, Mike. I was able to experience it. You've seen the show for a little bit now. You know what it's about, where the person really gets to know somebody on a personal level without the cameras, and basically anything goes, right? So on this week's episode, we had Gabby mentioning that Eric, who essentially is her final choice, since he went first, basically considered if she was intimate with the other two men, or either of the two men, that he would consider that cheating. Mm-hmm. Do you consider the Bachelor or the Bachelorette being physical with multiple people in the fantasy suites cheating?
To be succinct, no. If I'm able to elaborate, please. So, one, I don't like the fact that this world, this reality TV world, and to be more, even smaller, the Bachelor world, that it's okay. You almost get shunned, and the audience hates you when you don't let a person speak their feelings. But when they speak their feelings that don't agree with your feelings, now, as the audience, we automatically don't like that person, right? And I'm talking about Eric specifically because of the way he came at Gabby. Now, it's like you say, it's the way that you say things, not what you say.
Yeah.
Eric did way better than some people in the past, because a lot of people over the last 20 years have said the same thing in different ways, right? Hey, we're in a fantasy suite. I really care about you. It would hurt my heart if you were flesh to flesh with someone else, right? Every single year it happens. But I don't understand why we automatically don't like that person now. But previously, when a person speaks their feelings, it's okay to speak their feelings. So I'm a bit confused with that one. And the reason the answer is no is because cheating, for one, is within two people. Like, Bryan, your marriage is your marriage. When I get married, that's my marriage. Like, we will go on group dates and all that good stuff or whatever. Great. I can't believe I say group dates. We'll go on double dates. I'm watching the show too long. We'll go on double dates, XYZ, of course. But my wife and me, her husband, is different than you, your wife, and you, her husband, right? And so cheating is what those two define as cheating. But when you go on this show, it is known already that your person, whether you go on for the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, is going to have relations with other people, period. So it is not considered cheating. That is like the standard that was set. Now, should they have talked about it like I said and what the definition is? Yes. Hey, I really like you. I'm also the Bachelorette or the Bachelor. This is what's going to happen. But it's also understood.
But wait, isn't that technically...
It's also understood that in civilian life, sleeping with somebody else is cheating. Let that be clear, because somebody will come and be crazy.
Absolutely. So, so you're saying communication is the key, and that prior to any activity, that person should speak up.
I think that it is self-respect. I think that is respect for the person that you're dating. I also think that there are agreements that are made.
Because technically, Eric, he was first. Then he was like, yeah, I think it would be cheating if you went along and...
No, I think
we're intimate.
First, yeah. I think with Eric, it was first based on what he said. So
technically, he communicated, he made it known, and obviously
that's
we
why
saw what happened with the two, with the other two.
But you cut me off though. I said, because you said communication. I went further and I elaborate what communication is when it comes to this stuff, right? We have agreements in place. We have self-respect, and I have respect for my partner. So all three of those things are critical when it comes to the communication that those two had, right? that what Eric said was not Gabby's assumption or not Gabby's agreement, shall I say. It wasn't their agreement. So no, it is if we didn't come with respecting one another, having respect for self, and then agreeing on something, then no.
Yeah.
He knows damn well Gabby is the bachelorette. She is, I've always said this. When you're the lead, you get every ounce to be as selfish as you want to be. And I'm not saying selfish and being disrespectful to other people. I'm saying selfish and finding your love on your terms. Period.
Right. And there's clearly people that don't agree with it, like a
that's
Luke
fair.
P and all these other people that have, put their foot down when it came to that. I mean, listen, I mean, in the technical terms, I mean, if you consider that person your boyfriend, or you're serious with that person, and they go ahead and make out like everybody does on the season, and then they end up
Bryan.
sleeping on the Bachelor. I mean, I could see
Bryan,
why Eric would
what
consider
week was Rachel your girlfriend?
Right away.
Right away.
I
That's
thought.
what you
It's
wanted to say.
shit,
That's what that
from
man
day
you
one.
said. You said
from
right away.
day one. From the
Okay,
second
then.
we gave that little dap in the intro. But at the end of the day, like, I would have never pulled an Eric, right? Like, I know what's up. I know what's up. I know how the Bachelorette works, just like everybody should know at this point for the 20 years it has been running, that yes, the lead has that opportunity. Like, I don't want to step in and pull some move like that where she's going to be like, okay, so now I can't flush out my
These other two
relationships
relationships
and
or three,
see, what kind of chemistry we have, because you're giving me this quote unquote ultimatum. Like, I want
Agree
you to
with
be
you.
all the way sure. It's
Agree with
on you. Will it suck? Yeah, but that's what you signed up for. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but I
Guess
can
what?
also
When
understand.
you signed up for that agreement.
Technically, you guys agree that you guys are together, and the only thing is, in real life, you don't see this. Like, this could technically happen in real life, right?
Yeah.
Where you're dating multiple people, you're physical with all 3 or 4,
And then you slowly
potentially.
start to drop off people for that one person you really care about.
Exactly. So the only difference is you're in this bubble, you're on national TV. So it's like unusual circumstances call for. So it's like, I wouldn't consider it cheating. Like, you got to give the person a pass, because this is an unusual situation.
I think that you are phenomenal for many reasons, but one in particular is for this reason right here. You felt what Eric felt. You did. But
I think it's normal. It's normal
I
for
would feel
everybody
the
to
way
feel it.
Eric felt if I was ever in that position. 100%. I'm not saying Eric's wrong for his feelings whatsoever.
Yeah.
I actually validated him. I am saying that one of the reasons that you're phenomenal is because you were able to, you were like mature enough to see how by you saying, hey, Rachel, that's going to make her feel a certain type of way about finding her love. Yes, this is a 2-part system. I am super strong with saying love is a 2-part way, but you on her show. This is her season.
Yeah.
If this was your season, it would be about you finding your love. And so I commend you for saying to yourself, yo, I feel Eric, I feel him so deeply because you were going through it before, but I'm not going to try to make the girl that I'm trying to marry feel some type of way. And sometimes that's what a part of love is. Sometimes love is knowing when to speak on those feelings, and sometimes it's saying, I'm not trying to make that person feel XYZ feelings right now.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you want her to be 1,000% sure that you're the one. So,
and then low key, I don't know, how do you feel about this? Let me ask you this.
I had a follow-up question to that too, because there's been other men that also say, well, it's my journey too. It's my journey for love. Like, even though they're on the lead season, right? It's like, I've heard
they're on the lead season, like on
I've had men that
Yes.
are on a Bachelorette season,
Yes.
and I've heard them say on TV, like, or in interviews after the fact, well, I know it's her journey, but it's also my journey. Like, I choose her as well. Like, there's a couple people that have said that in the past.
It is their journey as well. Like, I started off with this, I was saying that I don't like that people condemn the people that, like, we love sometimes when someone is allowed to share their feelings, then we hate on them when they share their feelings, I don't like that. So I agree that it is, when I was on the show going for Hannah Brown, I want to make sure I'm in love with you just like you're trying to make sure if you're in love with me. Yeah. Now, when it comes to those things, though, obviously, it's extremely emotional. I'm not trying to add more pressure on top of the 50 cameras that are on top of the millions of people that are watching this, right? And that's why I commended you, because even though you felt that, and I'm listing all the other guys going in the future or in the past that were in those positions, sometimes you got to realize I'm going to pick and choose. On this one, I'm choosing to sit back. that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's again, it's an unusual. This is the most unique circumstance. Like nobody's ever going to go through this in real life. You know what I mean? Like you're in the bubble.
Hopefully.
You're going through the Bachelorette, Bachelor. I mean, there's different rules. There's different rules, and you sign up for that particular aspect of it. And yes, you got to prepare because it is a mental mind fuck. You know what I mean? It is going to be very tough. And that was one of the things going is like, I got to be prepared for other dudes to kiss my woman, potentially in the fantasy. I got to be ready for that. I can be ready for that. It is what it is. Like, this is what I signed up for. But if I'm really all about her and I really love her, like, I'm not going to F up her journey. You know what I'm saying? And just throw that wrench into plans just because, you know, my ego is hurt because she, you know, may sleep with other people. I don't know. That was my thing. I would have never pulled an Eric at the end of the day.
You do know. You know yourself. So you know, man. You know how you are. So I got to ask you this question right here. And this is just, you know, us boys talking. Does it slightly make you feel better and like a little chip, not a chip on your shoulder, but more like a gold star on your chest because you were like, yeah, babe, do what you got to do. And then she still came back to you. Does it give you like a gold star?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's how I feel like if I was in your position, how I would feel. Like, yo, I was feeling, you know, I'm feeling a certain type of way because I'm a human. I love you and I care about you. But also, hey, you did your thing. You came back to what's real, baby. Give me my gold star. You know, it would feel good like that.
Yeah, essentially, it like solidifies things, right?
Yeah.
It's like you solidified that you were the man for her. At the end of the day, she chose you. Like, you don't want the person that you get with, like, let's say you gave that ultimatum, right? Like, let's paint this scenario differently. Let's say Jason and Johnny are still there, and she isn't physical with them in the fantasy suite. She's only physical with Eric, and Eric gives her that ultimatum as the first person going.
Yes.
And she doesn't sleep with the other two because he gave the ultimatum. Down the road,
that's wrong.
Is she thinking, or like you're as a man, you're like, damn, I prevented her from doing that. Like, is she thinking about potentially those other guys, right?
Yeah.
Like, is she thinking about that? So it's like, I don't want to leave no doubt. It's like, flush out what you need to flush out. And at the end of the day, if I'm the best man for you, then it is what it is. But
it sounded like a little accent came out. You said at the end of the day.
At the end of the day.
End of the day, Becky.
little country. Rachel's wearing off on me.
I love and agree with everything that you just said. Yes, it will hurt, but ultimately, you came back to me. You know, you validated. And for the other 2 or 3 individuals, it's also validating that she's not your person.
Yeah.
And so, is what it is. But I got to ask you this really quickly. Can you date someone that has a child?
I think we've spoken on this before, but this is obviously the perfect topic for the person we're going to have on in a couple minutes. But I actually didn't think so earlier in my dating life. Like, I actually denied women that had kids. I mean, it would never take a serious turn with them. You know what I'm saying? If they had a kid, I was like, no, I wanted to start my own family. Like, I had things that happened in my family that kind of like shaped my thoughts on that. But I think as I've grown older and as I've matured a little bit, you know, and obviously like you get into the age where it's like the dating pool and the women potentially that you're going to be dating, you know, they're going to be
they're normally going to have a child,
age, right? Yeah. So
you
it's
and I
like,
are in a very rare position to not have a child at our ages.
So it's a situation where it's like I was more open to it. Obviously, I'm married, so you know, at this point, it doesn't really matter. But like hypothetically, if I was single, I am more open to that, way more so than I was in my, let's say, late 20s.
Again, I agree with you. I'm more open to it now as someone that's about to be 35 in December. I can't believe that, bro. I need to have a kid. I need to get a wife. Come on. Anyway, I can't wait to talk to Nate. I want to talk it out with him. We have so many questions, all the questions that you guys are asking. Best believe they on my mind. Best believe they're on Bryan's mind. So let's bring him in. Nate, talk it out. All right. First and foremost, Nate, I'm pissed off that I don't have a safety clip because I wanted to talk shit about you and wear a safety
What's up
clip.
with a safety clip, bro? Let me in on this joke.
The homie like to wear his little earring joint.
You know, you turn, you just let them know that you can keep them safe. You know, no.
What the hell? Oh my God, we're keeping that.
Oh my God.
Honestly, I just saw it as being something different. I'm always trying to just be a little riskier with my style and just play around with it. So it just ended up being that. You know, I could have gone a lot crazier, so I just kept it with the one.
Now, I think we all love
Tell
the
me
style,
use that
man.
line though. Tell me use that line because that actually was pretty slick. I ain't gonna lie.
I didn't use that line. I should have, but I didn't use it.
Oh man.
Do you ever let the hair go to the left-hand side?
Yeah, when I sleep, it actually swaps over. So
Oh, really?
it can change. It's very fluid.
Nice.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Nate, welcome to the show. We've been wanting to have you for a while now. We finally got you here. You got
Awesome.
the 2, 3, 4, 5 chains going. It's great to have you here. We're going to ask you a lot of questions, man. I'm sure you already talked to a couple of people in Bachelor Nation about what to and what not to say.
Yeah. I'll try not to besmirch my name on here. So,
how you doing, man?
I'm feeling good, man. I came off of a great Labor Day weekend. Hung with some friends out in the Hamptons. Got back, just recovering, getting back into the groove of things. So I feel great.
What about these last couple weeks, man? I mean, obviously, we're gonna get into a lot of things, but where's your head at right now?
My head, I kind of just disconnected. Once I got dumped, it was kind of not a relief, but I finally got to take a step back, and people just kept, they stopped hounding me about like what's happening. So it was a little, not freeing, but a little bit of weight off my shoulders as far as like my involvement with the show and having to do things like that. So,
do you feel some type of way about Gabby letting you go? Because you definitely emphasized dumped.
Ooh, I don't think I've ever been that blindsided in my life, and by that, I was feeling like I was rolling. The time before that before I got my one-on-one, we sat down, we chopped it up. She got my daughter gifts. So I'm thinking, wow, like we're really moving. And I was thinking the one-on-one was going to solidify our feelings. So I get there, and then all of a sudden, boom, just a complete shift. And I never even had an inkling before that she was feeling some type of way. So whenever she just had that shift, I was like, oh, I think I know what's happening.
Did you understand her, or like her viewpoint, or where she was coming from, like based on everything she went through when she was younger?
No, absolutely. I understood that was something that could possibly be difficult for her, but I figured it was something that we were like actively working through, like getting to know each other and kind of just growing throughout the process. I thought it was something that we were kind of tackling as we were getting to know each other. But I guess she just hit a breaking point before we went to before hometowns and couldn't do it.
Fair enough. This is one of our hot takes, Nate. We were asking each other, could we see ourselves dating someone with a child? And basically, we both agree that, when we were younger, probably not. As we're becoming older, absolutely so. You have a daughter. Can you date someone? If you didn't have a daughter, could you date someone that has a child? And having a child, does it change it?
Before I had Mila, I actually dated someone with a child. And going in, a lot of people have this misconception that, oh my God, I'm this child's parent. But Mila's already got a great mom. We have like a great co-parenting relationship. And so whenever you start to date someone with a child, you're literally just getting to know them. And then they're kind of vetting the process of seeing if later down the road you can be ingratiated into that child's life. So whenever you start dating someone with a child, you're not just immediately, boom, big happy family. You're dating that person, and then that child, or at whatever time the parent like chooses, gets brought into the situation, and it's a slow progression. It's never getting the entire onus of the child, like picking up and dropping off, like things like that. That's just it's just like an asinine viewpoint that people who've never done it like kind of mistakenly think.
Now, that's beautifully said. Now, me and Bryan both said you're going to say a lot of things that we think are both beautifully said. With that, though, Gabby wasn't in that same position. Gabby was in a position to find her fiance, her husband. For her in particular, in having her defense, her side of the story, it wouldn't have been like that. She'd have been your fiance. So from that angle, how do you feel about it?
I completely get it. It's such a big responsibility from, the lead standpoint to kind of take those things into account, because that's an even bigger leap for them. Essentially, if I were to get engaged to Gabby at the end of it, she would have only met Mila, at hometown. So one interaction and then engagement. I think in that circumstance, it would have had to be an undeniably strong connection to where that person's like, okay, like she would either had to be in love with me so much that she would have taken the chance. And then again, if we did get engaged, there would still be a long time before we took the step to actually get married. It would just be using that time for her to get to become familiar with Mila, become familiar with me and how I operate around Mila, because I'm a completely different person whenever, I'm around my daughter. I'm like dad mode, is kind of more of a parent than just someone who's just out on a boat dating in the middle of, Amsterdam. So it would have been like a kind of a second phase that comes after the show.
Fair enough. So man, I just want to like switch gears, because obviously, Bachelor Nation has been waiting to hear from you a little bit more outside of the Men Tell All. You talked a little bit about it there, but if you're comfortable with it, obviously we'd like to get into a little bit more depth about everything that's happened on social media and where everybody's talking. Are you cool with that?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as far as, the people you were dating in the past, like when did you first learn that those quote unquote exes were speaking to the media, and what was your initial reaction on that?
I didn't have a clue about any of it. I didn't find out about it until I was on my way to the Men's Tell All. I got a call like, yo, like this, that, and next is going on. So I'm like, wait, what? And so I honestly didn't even read any of the articles or anything, because it's like, I'm thinking it's just, some random person on the internet that's just like out here just talking crazy. So I never really tripped into that. But then I just got, my phone was blowing up. So I'm like, did I kill somebody? So I go online and then I see like the articles, and I'm just like, oh, I kind of didn't know what to do. I'm the type of person that likes to process things. So I kind of just waited to like allow myself to have a reaction and just kind of simmered on it. And so that's why I didn't like have a knee-jerk reaction of immediately responding, and kind of just waited to just like express myself during the tell-all.
Fair enough. When did you meet the two women?
So it was at different time periods. I actually met, the first woman during the summer of, let me think. I think it was 2020, if I'm not mistaken. And then the second woman, I met her during January of 2021. So there's a little gap there.
I'm trying to think. Was I with you my last time in Chicago in 2020, right before COVID happened?
No, COVID was 2019. So I met you. Okay. I think I met you summer of 2019.
Okay, 19. Okay.
Yeah, because you were fresh off your show.
Okay. So how would you describe your relationship with them? Because obviously they were under the impression that you guys were maybe more serious than you thought. So how would you personally describe your relationship with them?
The way I can describe it is I'm more literal. So from my standpoint, like we obviously had I had a strong connection with both of them, but there was never a point where we had defined anything as far as like being committed as dating. So if I had to describe it, I would feel like a talking phase.
I'm
for a year and a half?
Yeah, ain't gonna be no 18-month talking phase, Nate.
No, so the year and a half, like that was the time period that I knew her. Like I didn't talk to her for 6 months of that period. So
y'all were in and out, talking, not talking, going.
Yeah, it was in and off. And like I said, there was a stint where I didn't, talk to her for months on end, especially during like the first few. Like I didn't reconnect with her back until like January's time period. So between that summer to January, there was literally only like probably a handful of text messages, if that. So.
Gotcha. So you were saying that you didn't cheat. Question for one.
Say that again?
You're saying you didn't cheat?
No, from my standpoint, like I said, I didn't make any verbal or even like incline that we were in a committed relationship during the time that I was talking to both women. So from my standpoint, it wasn't cheating. It was just me exploring these relationships.
What good words. So when you were talking to the second girl, you and the first girl were like out of sight, out of mind. She's not my girlfriend. We're not exclusive. We're not dating casually together right now.
Yeah, no. So whenever I met the second girl is whenever I just started talking to the first woman again. So it was, in my mind, it was casual. Whenever she came back into my life in January, I kind of knew that she was already talking to other guys, but we were kind of just just keeping it casual. And then as time progressed and I started feeling like strong feelings towards both of them, it's whenever I decided to end it with the second woman that I talked to. So
there was,
and even
okay, and then went back to the first lady.
yeah. Then I went back to the first lady.
So there was a lot said about, you not revealing that you had a daughter to the one that, you were on and off talking for a year and a half. Can you explain the reasoning behind that?
Well, the reasoning behind it was just more so because I just wasn't in a comfortable state to even describe or discuss like my past with her. And especially when it came to my daughter, like our interactions were so just like kind of carefree that our discussions whenever we were one-on-one were just, just like blase. And then not even talking to her for the first like 5 months after our first and second interaction, like I wasn't immediately going to go deep in with her. Whenever I met the second woman, I would say that like our conversations were more in tune with what I look for mentally and emotionally. So I actually did express like, my daughter and things like that and my past like marriage. So even though I was with the second woman shorter, like we were just more in tune. And so I was able to like divulge that with her. So I wasn't just out here hiding her from every relationship. It just kind of depends on what that person's able to make me feel comfortable with opening up to. Because
I honestly thought you were going to say that Drake line.
No,
I was hiding my kid from the world.
No, it has nothing to do with that. Like talking about like children and talking about like divorce is really hard. Mm-hmm. It really is. So you have to feel extremely comfortable with somebody, and not from the standpoint of like comfortable as like having fun, comfortable as like opening up a part of you that you're sharing with someone and you're expecting them to protect it in a sense.
Absolutely. And so when you felt more strongly with the second young lady, but after y'all decided to part ways, you went back to the first lady. That just makes you, she's carefree, it's comfortable.
Yeah. At that time, whenever I decided to go back to the first woman, there was some things that happened with the second lady that kind of made me, that kind of took me back a little bit. So for the sake of protecting her, I'm not going to go into like the nitty gritty, but for the most part, it was just that I just decided to only talk to one person. And then that's whenever I split it. I still didn't put like a label on it or like verbally say, but
yeah, just trying to grow feelings.
Yeah. So I had to make a choice. I was like, I'm not about to keep talking to both these women at the same time forever. Like I'm just going to make a path to go so I can focus on this. And if it comes to something more, then it will.
I'm confused, Nate.
What's that?
I thought you weren't talking to them at the same time.
No, I was talking to them at the same time, but I wasn't in a committed relationship with either of them during the same time.
What do you say? I imagine it was the first one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but what do you say to her saying things like you guys were doing relationship type of things, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend. You were going to trips with the family, et cetera, et cetera. Like what were they talking about there?
I didn't go on trips with the family. I think a lot of the times is whenever you're dating, getting to know someone, like you actually do relationship stuff, And whenever we started talking again in January, February is right around the corner. Like, of course, you would try to give someone that you're vying for their affection, like a nice Valentine's card or what have you. I'm not taking away from the fact that I probably should have voiced that, but with the first woman, I met her entire family the second time I hung out with her. So in my mind, it wasn't some grand gesture of making like a staple in the relationship. It was more so, she was just cool and fluid with who she brought around her people. And then after that, like I said, I met her family and then I didn't even talk to her, and she dated people. I dated people after that. So that whole, I guess the guise of the year and a half of only dating me was kind of exaggerated a bit, but I'm not gonna refute whatever she felt. So
no, you're not saying she's right or wrong. You're just simply speaking your side of the story, which is, well, all we're trying to ask. We're not going to condemn that woman whatsoever. We don't know her.
Yeah, no.
And I know you're not trying to do that either.
No, I mean, her family was amazing to me. Like I have nothing, untoward or nothing bad to say about them.
Have you spoken to either woman since?
No, I haven't. so saying like I don't know. I've always kept like an open, like I don't know, open door. But I haven't talked to either of them. You know.
Have they reached out at all? Like no texts, no emails, nothing from them?
Before I went on the show, the first woman actually texted me, but it was just like high level. I thought I saw you running in this area, and I was like, nah, it wasn't me. It was at high level, but it wasn't anything like discussing like any type of disdain with me or any type of grievances. So I had no idea that this was something that was kind of lingering to this degree.
So last thing you knew, you were on good terms with both women.
Yeah.
Hey, do you? I'm gonna ask you kind of a funny question. Do you feel that your situation was the only time this has ever happened in Bachelor history?
I don't know. I haven't watched it that long. I kind of only started watching it since like whenever you and Dustin were on.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what type of flack other people caught, but
Great answer.
Mine didn't feel good. So I hope nobody else has to like feel those things. You know, I wouldn't wish that on anybody because it's stressful. But I don't know.
Were you surprised by the life that the story took on by itself?
No, not really. I mean, because I read it and I was like, dang. Anybody that reads it in that context, I mean, rightfully would, feel a type of way. But to me, it wasn't to try and refute it. Me in my heart, I kind of knew what place that I was coming from and what actually happened. There's the patina of what can be shown in text messages and photos, and then there's things that are said to people that I like honestly can't be documented. Like the whole thing, like I'm hiding my child. Like they didn't mention that I discussed it with the second woman. Like I'm not just out here hiding. There were things in there that were kind of bloviated, but I think the gist of it is anytime that you're just not like overly expressive or just like clearly stating your intentions, people can get hurt. And that's why I'm not trying to absolve myself. Like I know I'm not perfect. I tried to date in like today's day and age and I did it wrong and ended up hurting people. And I think that's what matters. And that's, the fault that I found and, how I carried myself back then.
Let me ask you this question: when you're, because I think what we're having is like people are having a differences with the definition of what certain words mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
In my personal life, I have that conversation. I'm sure Bryan has that conversation with people as well as you do, because we all are human and we all have different definitions of what one word may mean. When you are, let's say, you meet a human being, let's say you go out with that human being, and like y'all first met 1 or 2 times, are you like public displays of affection with that individual, or would you give a gift for that person?
What's that?
Like if you just met somebody like 1 or 2 times, are you like the public display type of individual? Are you like I'm trying to see what type of person you are when it comes to talking to someone.
It kind of depends. I'm typically one that's like, I like to do nice things for people, like friends, family, especially if I'm talking to someone that, I think that I could potentially care for. So yeah, like I would get gifts and things like that. I've never been like shy with that, but obviously there's levels, like depends on how someone treats me, how someone makes me feel, and like how, what they're able to, pull out of me in a sense. You can't open up to the same people like the same way in every relationship. So it's
I'm trying to see you in love, bro. I'm trying to see you do it. I'm trying to see you pull out the works. I'm trying to see the works come out.
So Nate, man, I mean, just like looking back at this whole situation, everything that's come out, like, what do you wish you did differently, if anything at all?
It's kind of hard to say because, like I said, there were conversations that were had verbally that weren't in any type of documentation. I think I was
see the light of day.
Fair.
It's not going to see the light of day, and I'm not going to repeat it because, again, I'm not trying to put shame on anyone or even refute it again, because however they felt, like they felt. If I could do anything, I wish I could go back and like not cause them any pain, but as far as like my standpoint, I'm a very vocal person. Like I have no issues speaking like how I feel. And in those relationships, I was vocal about like the issues that I saw. And those were kind of the crux of what didn't allow me to continue those relationships. So again, the text messages are different things. Like I definitely felt like a range of emotions, but there's always things that happen behind relationships that don't really see the light and kind of what's a word that I can say for it whenever it pertains to like how I viewed it. It was just difficult for me to accept all of what I saw in them. I loved aspects of each of them, but that doesn't mean that you can ignore other things that kind of scare you in a relationship that aren't good for you. So
what's the grin? What's the grin about, Mike?
Nate is he's great. Nate is great. Nate's great. I just got to smile. I love Nate's words. I love Nate's responses to everything. Nate, I got to ask, like, take me back. When did you get cast on The Bachelorette, man? Let's get some lighter.
When did I get cast? You know, so I'm the type of person that needs like signs, like clear-cut signs, like this is my path, this is intended for me, this is something that I need to do. And it kind of just like beginning this year, like a lot of things just kind of opened up and presented themselves in a way that made it seem like this was something that felt like it was the right time. And so I got hit up at the top of the year by one of the, casting managers, and I was like, oh, maybe just hit me up and then we can have a discussion. And then as time just kept progressing, I was like, let's do it. But I almost backed out a couple of days before. Wow. I was like, I just got cold feet. I was like, this is gonna be on TV. Like everyone's gonna see me. I don't know if I'm ready. And then my friend actually helped, calm my nerves a little bit. And then I was able to make it on the plane to fly out. But I was
extremely on the edge, like right there. The last
edge. I was looking for any reason to back out, but nothing happened to get me out of it. So I ended up on her.
And man, you hadn't been divorced for that long. I mean, what did your friends and family think of you going on the show?
They were supportive, honestly. The actual, the difference between like the actual ink drying as opposed to like being separated. We were separated for years. So it wasn't like a cold turkey, like hot to cold. Like we were already living separate for a considerable amount of time. And I was just kind of just floating around out here.
Or when did y'all ink sign, I guess you would say?
When did so we separated at the end of 2018 and the divorce was, I want to say the top of 2020.
Gotcha. Dustin's like literally my little brother. Your cousin, we all fam, right?
Yeah.
And listening to Dustin and Peter speak in your defense, how do you feel about like Dustin's thoughts on defending you?
I love Dustin's intentions, and I thanked him for trying to speak out for me, but it just, I don't know, I just felt bad that he got so much flack for trying to defend me,
Do you think that fueled the fire? Like that, everything that was going around you, like you think it made it worse?
That fire was already gone. There was nothing that could have made it. There was nothing that could have made it worse. I think all it did was just, allowed fodder for the people who were already like kind of one-sided. Even addressing it at the men's tell-all, I was kind of hesitant because I was like, do I really want to do this? The last thing I wanted to do was shame anybody. The last thing I wanted to do was say something, wrong because it's filmed live. And, if you fumble anything, like, damn, it's gonna be bad for me. Yeah. So I was just so nervous. But as far as like exacerbating the issue, I just decided to stay silent, and that was pretty much it.
Fair enough. Talk about staying silent. What do you feel about like it was the picture going around, being intimate with some lady at a store or something like that? Y'all were holding hands or something, I believe.
Oh yeah, that was a friend. So yeah.
Just a friend?
Yeah. Just.
What does friend mean? Because I don't hold my girlfriend.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
you don't do
this,
that with
like this is a homie talk, bro. Like my friends that are girls, I ain't holding their hand.
I don't even know if that was me. Was it? Or was this?
Plausible deniability. Mike.
Oh, you went back to psychology 101.
Boy, a lot of people think it looked like you.
Mike. We don't all look like Mike.
We don't all look like. My hair is in plaits. Yours is not, sir.
So are you denying that was you in that store holding that woman's hand?
I mean, I don't see the photo right now. Like, if I can see the photo, I'll be able to tell you.
No, you don't do that because I will pull up them receipts now.
I don't know.
Nathaniel, I'm gonna call you out now, Nathaniel. I ain't gonna do you like that. I love you. Gosh, that's too funny. I'm sorry. So you did that. You did that. You did that. So in regards to the Bachelorette, right? When you got on the show, night one, were you ready to find something serious?
Anytime I go into, I guess, like stepping into a possible relationship, you just want to go into it with an open mind. You don't want to lean one way because then you're probably going to obscure the view that you have of the person, and you don't want to be too far back because then you could come off as closed. So going into this process, I told myself I'm going to be open to finding love. And that was the best mindset that I could put myself in, so I didn't miss out on an opportunity. And by not being myself or overly look like I'm being too thirsty as if I'm like trying to chase something, That was my thought process.
Do you think, hypothetically speaking, things went, obviously things were going great with Gabby until you were blindsided on that one-on-one. Do you feel like if she would have been cool, with the whole motherly aspect, do you feel that you could have gotten engaged with Gabby at the end of all this?
The way that things were progressing, I would probably say, I probably could have seen myself doing it, honestly. Yeah, things didn't pan out. I think ultimately seeing like what she was going through now, it probably would have been the same story at the end. I don't really do too many hypotheticals in life, and I think everything happens for a reason. At looking back at it, seeing all the things that kind of progressed, I think what we had was just a really special relationship, and we were able to grow from it by being a part of each other's lives. But we're just each other's story. I don't think that we were each other's end game because of that. She's still got a lot of things to work through just from what she was telling me in her relationship with her mother that are still there. And whenever I choose a person that I'm going to go with, I kind of need somebody to be solid on that front if I'm going to bring them into my daughter's life. So it wouldn't have been good timing.
Did you, have you seen the last few episodes, this week's episodes?
I still got to catch up on this week's episode. I saw last week's, but I got to catch up on it.
I'm asking you because I want to know this thought from you. If it 100% looked like myself, Bryan, the entire Bachelor Nation thought you was going to be in the Final Four, right? I'm sure you did. Yeah. You guys were. It was awesome to watch, And if you would have been in the Final Four, Gabby, was able to meet your family. How do you, what are your thoughts around Final Four fantasy suites and your person that you're falling in love with and or are in love with being intimate with someone else or having the possibility to be intimate with someone else?
How would you have handled that situation?
How would I have handled it? I don't know. It's kind of hard. That's actually something that I was thinking about a lot going up to it because I didn't know what I would do. I think personally, because I know the context of the show, that I would have to allow that person the freedom to choose what they want to do and not put any type of stipulations on them, especially like in this context. So I don't think that I would have broached that subject with her. I think the leads know what position they're in. And, this has happened multiple times where, somebody brings it up and they're like, well, you know what you signed up for. I think it's good to express like your concerns, but I don't think it's good to ever put an ultimatum on somebody. So I would have been like, hey, like I feel a way with you. Like I may be hurt if you do explore these relationships. I wouldn't blatantly say like sex. I would like if you explore these relationships, like you can do that. But
we all know you'll be smooth with it.
Yeah.
You got the best. You got the gift of gab, as Bryan would say. How do you feel about? I like you and Gabby together. I do. I really do. I like you as a homie, and I like y'all together. How do you feel with Eric and Gabby together? Or how do you feel with Eric and Gabby from what we've seen thus far?
From what I've seen this far, again, I haven't seen this week, but just from what I've seen in previous episodes, I think that he does bring out a softness to Gabby that I wasn't able to bring out, which is unique, Um, I think whenever the first time that I saw her and Eric interact was whenever we had the Bruges Belgium date, and they seemed like they kind of gravitated towards each other. So it felt like there was something there. I ignored it because I was like,
I don't blame you. Yeah, I feel that. That's not there.
For the most part, I think that they at least have the spark as far as like being able to make something work. I mean, any relationship takes work, but it felt like they had the spark to make something kind of culminate there.
There, definitely so. I like that you and Eric both have different haircuts. That's what I like. Ain't nobody else gonna talk about that.
He's bringing the mullet. He's making the mullet popular, man.
Yeah.
That's why. Whenever I saw him, I was kind of jealous. I was like, man, he has a mullet. He's supposed to look stupid, but
he looks so smooth with it. I've never seen nobody in my life look smooth like Eric does with that mullet.
I haven't either. I gave him so many compliments. I probably should have cut his hair when he was sleeping. I was right next to him on the phone.
It's like Samson.
A little bit.
That would have been smart.
What about the men tell all, man? Obviously, you were put in the hot seat. Is there anything? Yeah, it was hot. Is there anything that was said on there that maybe you want to elaborate on, or is there something that you wish you would have said or that you didn't get a chance to say on there?
The only thing I will elaborate on, and people kind of came at me, was because I said, like, I didn't want it to seem like the women were what I was worried about putting Mila in as far as like a dangerous situation. That was just me speaking on general terms. I think that was like the parent coming out and saying like, oh, I don't want my daughter in dangerous situations, but I don't think that she would have been in a dangerous situation with either of them. I just think that it just wasn't a fit for my family for what I saw. And so that's the only thing that I want to clarify. But as far as anything else that happened, I don't know. I watched it. I watched it back a couple times just to make sure like how
you look good.
Myself,
you look good,
and then as far as like, I know that I'm just like extremely like, I'm so scrupulous whenever it comes to like me seeing myself on TV. I get anxiety, so I'm like, what did I do? but yeah, I think everything went over well except for that part because I didn't want people to think anything of the individuals when it came to something being dangerous.
There was a part watching the men tell all and watching you in the hot seat that I smiled at. It made me really happy because we know what you've talked about, how you felt going into Men Tell All with the calls that you were getting about what was happening in social media. More so, how did it feel that all the guys had your back, that the Bachelorettes had your, Gabby had your back? Like, how does that feel?
Like a mentor to them, man.
I was happy to hear it, but what I thought of in those moments were, that I'm a man that has grown. I've definitely made mistakes in my life, but the one thing that I've always said that I don't want to do is repeat past mistakes. Correct. And, our past kind of molds us into things, and some people can either take them as lessons or they can take those and then make sure that I don't make those mistakes. And as far as like helping other men not make them whenever I see that. So that's one of the main things that I was referring to when I was saying holding people accountable, because I hold myself accountable and I do it for other people, and you would do it for other people if you cared about them. You wouldn't just watch your friend walk into, a trap, it's something bad for them. So it was kind of just validating that, the man that I'm trying to be, like I'm actively working towards that and I am becoming better. I'm not perfect. I never promulgated myself to be perfect. I'm probably still going to make mistakes, but I'm not going to make the same mistakes. And I'm not going to allow people that I care for to go down the path that I did, because it wouldn't be a service to, my failures to allow that to keep happening. It wouldn't be a service to women in general to be in a world where men aren't really actively trying to make that sphere better for them.
I feel you on that. So what was it like to see Gabby again, man, after all that time? Obviously the big breakup that you guys went through. Like, what was it like seeing her again? Any butterflies, any feelings there?
Oh, yeah. I was like, whoo, she looking nice. No, she looked so beautiful. It was honestly just like seeing an old friend. We had like an ample amount of time. I've since grown from that whole instance and appreciated for it. So I just was glad to see her doing well. And it was like a breath of fresh air seeing her walk in and just us share that small interaction of just smiling at each other and me being able to tell her, because I was actually able to process a lot of what happened. When I went through it, I was just stuck. Like when she was like, I can't do this, I was like,
yeah, it was hard.
So I didn't get to say a lot of what I wanted to say on that bench, but looking back, I just wanted her to know that I had no hard feelings towards her. I really view her as a very astute individual, in tune with her emotions and feelings, and I think she made the right choice for her. So I'm always going to be in her corner, and I'm happy that
Now, Nate, you say it was like seeing an old friend, but there's some TikTok content that you made that leads to believe that you may not be over Gabby. What was that about?
You know what that is? I like to express myself. So whenever I got broke up and I came back, I couldn't do anything, So it's like kind of bottling up these emotions that you have, and you can't say anything because you're still actively in it. So whenever I get like dumped, it's like, okay, I can finally express what I felt like in that time. And a lot of that is something that I could kind of get out there so I can move on from that. It's not a sense of like trying to win her back. This is how I actually felt at that time. I was hurting.
How do you feel at this time?
I hurt. Huh?
How do you feel right now?
Right now, I feel, like I said, I feel good.
In regards
I feel
to Gabby.
good. I'm not from the standpoint of trying to open up old wounds, but from the standpoint of just taking that whole experience for what it was and just being okay with it.
Okay, I'm gonna be very specific because I know you are a wonderful master of words, and I say that as that's a compliment to you, right? I say that as a compliment. I've said it before on Talking It Out. You know what I mean? I can see you and Gabby back together in the future, so I'm gonna ask you directly. I don't want none of this smooth talk. Are you trying to get back with Gabby or what?
I think right now, I don't think that I'm trying to get back with Gabby.
Brian, you see how you said as of right now? That boy, Kate, for the life, give me a straight answer.
It's one of those things like you don't want to close the door for no reason. I don't know what the future holds, but for right now, I'm assuming she's with the person that she wants to be with, and I'm not going to wreck a happy home for my own good. So if she's happy, I'm happy. Yeah.
So right now, are you ready to get out there and date other people?
Right now, I would say I'm never going to force anything, but my heart's always open, if the right person comes in,
I got you.
So bro, we gotta ask because there's been a lot of rumors out there about you potentially being the next Bachelor. And so a lot of people out there are saying that you turned it down. Is that accurate?
As far as the batch goes, it's not for me. It's not for me right now, man. It's not for me.
Not for you right now?
I know he always got to add a little
right
to
now.
I don't think it's for me right now. Like, honestly,
so does that mean, because with Nate, Brian, with Nate, you got to go deeper with Nate, because he going to answer your question, but he going to answer it in such a beautiful way. Does that mean that you need more on the table? You need more incentives? Or does that mean I'm not trying to do it right now?
I don't think that I would ever make a decision based on just like incentives. It has to be right timing. The same reason that I did.
Is the timing right now?
No, timing's not right now.
I hate to cut you off, but I got to be specific.
So would you consider it in the future? And how do you feel you would be as a Bachelor?
I think I would be, I don't know. I think that I would kill it. I think I would do well. I would go into it with the mindset of I'm looking for love, but everyone that is here is trying to do the same. So I wouldn't put my feelings above anyone else's. And I think that coming into it with that mindset of, I'm not trying to be the man and all these things with like a bravado of putting myself above others, I think you can't really go wrong with that.
There's a lot of political talk right now, and I'm trying to cut through all the cheese of that.
Yeah.
There's people saying that it wanted it to be leaked, that you chose not to be the Bachelor, People are saying that is because of reasons to cover up what has been taking place on social media. I'm asking you directly, are there plans for you to be the Bachelor and conversations in the future so that this can die down now?
It's fair.
No. It wasn't any of that. Whenever I stepped away, it was just like a kind of like an understanding. I think I'm still on good terms with everybody.
Everyone love you, bro. I love you.
But
we all love you.
But for the most part, I'm not thinking about the future, and I don't think that there was any discussions of doing anything in the future.
Gotcha. Can we go back to TikTok though? I'm sorry, Bryan, you had a question.
No, I was gonna ask like how much, like if you decided, like you mentioned, you would kill it as the Bachelor, like how much would your daughter play into that? Because obviously, I feel like more than ever, the leads, take so much scrutiny. Like, would that play a factor? And obviously she's young, she's growing up, she's impressionable. Like seeing her dad on that type of stage, like, would that play a factor if as far as being the Bachelor?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many factors when it comes into it with children, the time away, being away from them being involved. Like, obviously, I don't just parade her around just anybody. There's so many things that come into play whenever it comes into wanting to do the lead role as it is, and then you add a child into it. I think there's a lot of discussions you have with the parent, with the child, and then like how to go about doing that. And obviously I didn't get to the point where I got to line all that out and discuss all that, but I'd imagine it'd be difficult. It'd be difficult.
I'm smiling because it's just cool to see you here, man. It's just really cool to me.
Yeah.
But that was a great question, Bryan. And talking about your daughter, can we get some more girl dad content on TikTok, man? Like, how is the braiding going? Are you getting them braiding skills down?
My braiding skills are fantastic. So fun fact, whenever I knew I was gonna have a daughter, what I did was I went on YouTube and I just kept watching YouTube videos.
My ovaries!
Right.
So,
they're swooning right now, bruh.
So whenever her hair got long enough, like, sad to say, I would try to do it, but I would butcher it. It would be bad. But now I can French braid, I can Dutch braid.
I know what I'm doing.
There's no disconnect in like her keptness whenever she's with me. Her hair is tight, laying her edges. I'm doing all that. I'm putting her in fits. Like this, you're not gonna tell the difference. And the one thing that made me so happy is I went into daycare one time, and I'll bring Mila in, and the woman was like, "Did her mom do her hair?" Because she knew that we took her at different times.
Oh, that's the ultimate compliment.
And I was like,
yes, I'm him.
I was like, oh, him.
That's awesome, man. But man, in all seriousness though, tell us about your beautiful girl, Mila, man. Like, what's the best part about being a dad? And tell us a little bit about her.
I think the best part of being a dad is just seeing the world through your children's eyes. Like, you literally get to experience things for the first time again, teaching her how to ride a bike and seeing how excited she is, like, that's lit. Whenever she learned to read and just like, man, like, she's actually really smart, just experiencing things for the first time with her, and then actually like raising like a young woman. There was one story that I tell my friends. I was just a mindset that I have of empowering her. One day she was like, "Can we get ice cream from the ice cream woman?" I mean, man, I was like, "No, mama, it could be an ice cream woman. It could be anything like that." And just the idea that she wasn't quick to say ice cream man, but ice cream woman was just so powerful to me. And it just showed me that I'm like really raising her into the woman that I think that she can be. And she's going to be unencumbered from what she's thinking that she can do with that type of mindset. So I was just so happy.
I love that. That's so sweet and so just awesome to hear. Nate, when it comes to dating, having a daughter, I've thought about this myself, and I don't have a daughter, so I'm living through you in your response. Not a media portrayal answer. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for a political answer. Genuinely, how, and I love you when I say, hey, how is it, what changes when you have a daughter and when you're in the dating world?
What changes when you have a daughter and you're in the dating world?
And you're dating women.
Just the seriousness of which you carry yourself going into it. I think before, whenever I was just trying to just be so casual and not really focusing on who can fit into my family, it was going about it the wrong way, in a sense that she's really going to see the way that she should be loved through me, And anytime that, if I'm ever going to bring somebody around Mila that I'm dating, she's watching me so closely, and that's what she's going to accept. And so dating is it's just gotten so much more serious from the standpoint of like, I am not trying to waste my time. I'm 33. Like, granted, you can choose at whatever age, but like, I'm 33 and I don't see dating without a purpose as something that's good for me, and it's definitely not good for her. So it's just dating with purpose as opposed to dating just to pass time or just to share moments with someone.
Does that work for when that person doesn't meet Mila and when she does meet Mila, or is it on both sides of the house serious?
It's on both sides of the house.
Okay, because I remember earlier we were talking about the casual.
It's on both sides of the house. Like, obviously you see like signs and you have your views of what you're experiencing in the relationship before you get to that step. But if you don't take it seriously up front, or if I don't take it seriously up front from like actually getting to know someone to get to the point where I can do that, I have to be able to see that, like, that avenue. And if I don't, then I won't really put that much effort into it. And then typically that stuff will die out.
Can you go a little bit in depth on that? Like, what aspects of a woman are you looking for in order to be able to introduce her to your daughter? What kind of qualities?
Just like a level of maturity that is like, that's like kind of fluid. So one that like, I really want like a nurturer, someone who is empathetic, patience, things that like bode well with like raising a child. And then as well as things that work for me, like I need someone who is like a positive person. Like it's hard for me to operate around someone who's like kind of negative all the time. Just different characteristic traits that you kind of key in. Like, how do you argue? How do you articulate your thoughts? How is the communication? Like, do I feel like you will hear me if I express like certain things, or will you put me down? Like small things like that parents kind of put on children if they have bad habits. Like I look at habits more than anything. So because those things can be
do you date casually now?
No, not casually. No, like it takes a lot for me to say, okay, I'm about to start dating. Like just because I know the impact of how negative it can go with it being casual, especially with what I have on my mind. I don't have the luxury of being casual.
What good words. I don't have the luxury of being casual.
At the end of the day, man, obviously, you know, you've been through a lot with all the noise on social media. Like, what did you learn from that, the show, like to the man you are right now sitting in front of us? Like, what did you learn from all that that's going to help you to find that person that, you know, you're looking for in a partner?
Ooh, that's a great question. What did I learn from, you know, the stuff from social media and the show? You know, social media can be rough. You know, a lot of the times, like I almost went into a dark place, but you kind of just have to be secure in yourself and know that one thing that got me through was I know that I'm not that same guy. And so I was able to like kind of wade through it. I know people had like their reservations and they were upset with me, rightfully so, but I have to have an idea that I can change and can be better, or else it's going to be harder for me to attempt to get better. So with that, it's just from all of this, I just need to keep trying to be the best man that I can be. Understand that, you know, I'm not perfect, and at the end of the day, none of us are, but, you know, regardless of if people are mad at me or not, I'm not going to stop trying.
Well, Nate, I think you're a great guy.
Thanks, man.
I think you're political.
No, this is literally my thought process. I don't know what else.
Telling you how I feel.
He's smooth with it, Mike.
He's extremely smooth.
I gotta give it to him, man.
Clean smooth. He need to start being Drake's ghostwriter. But Nate, we got to end it out with this, man. I want to be talking it out. We want to be a great guest if we didn't hear your gem for us. What do you got for us, man?
My gem. Ooh. I would say my one gem is one thing that helped me in life is just taking a step back from, like, at some point you need to take a step back and just really focus on deepening the connections with your family and your friends, because at the end of the day, if the world turns on you, these are the people who are going to be there for you. You know, before I even went on the show, I took a large hiatus from like social media, electronics, and just really focused on recognizing the people around me who were really important. And that, and putting in those little eggs helped me whenever I just went through possibly one of the roughest months in my life. And so I would just encourage those of you out there, if you have loved ones, just tap in. If you have friends, check in on them, and, you know, just keep the people who are in real life dear, because the internet and social, at the end of the day, when you turn off your phone, they're not going to be there. So that's my gym.
Fair enough, man. Well,
Love that.
Thank you for being on. We saw Mila come through for a moment. She can get daddy back, you know. And wishing you nothing but the best, man. Wishing you nothing but the best.
Appreciate you for coming on, and just, you know, obviously we hit you with some tough ones there, but, you know, we appreciate the honesty and the openness.
Well, man, seriously though, have a great one, bro. Bryan, how do you feel about Nate, man?
Oh, man. I mean, listen, man, at the end of the day, like, whether he made mistakes or not, you know, he has his truth. You know, everything that was said on social media, those people have their truths. At the end of the day, if mistakes were made, mistakes were made. And he's, you know, he seems like he's admitting to them, right? And he's ready to move on. And at the end of the day, I don't know if we should essentially crucify the man for that.
No.
I thought he was as open as can be, man. I thought he was as open as can be. Some people, you know, like they said on the Men to All, they thought he was bullshitting, right? They didn't believe him. They thought he was putting up an act. You know, we kind of called him out a little bit, you know, for his wordplay on this episode. But
he's a fantastic wordsmith.
Yeah, he's a wordsmith. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, hopefully he learned from whatever he had to learn from, and he's a better man for it. And that's all you could ask for at the end of the day with us as human beings.
At the end of the day, I truly feel that Nate's heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
I truly feel that Nate has, when he want to get out of something, whether he was right or wrong, he will squeeze a way out of that one.
Yeah,
he will figure out how to get out. Matter of fact, Nate gonna be at my. He gonna be giving words, because I know he gonna write better than I can. Nate gonna be giving words about love.
Yeah. No, listen. I think he would be. I think he'd be a good bachelor. That's all I'm gonna say.
No,
I think he'd be a good bachelor. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he will.
With daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like, he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders as far as like what he wants for her and the type of person that he wants for his daughter and for him in his life. And you know, whether it's the bachelor or not, you know, at the end of the day, I wish everybody that we have on nothing but the best.
No, for sure. I think I could take away. I need to be more political at times. I could take that away from Nate. Thank you, Nate.
We want the raw truth, Mike.
Nah, people can't handle that sometimes. But it is what it is.
Oh man. Well, anyway, guys, we hope you enjoyed this episode. You asked for the man to come out and speak on this stuff. And, you know, he gave us a lot today, and we just hope you enjoyed the episode. So we appreciate you guys for listening.
Definitely so. Thank you, Nate, for being here. Thank you to all our listeners for tuning in today's episode. You know, we always love to hear your opinions, your stories, your insight. So please don't forget to like, comment, follow. Message us on social at @B as in Bachelor Nation on IG. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and listen to us on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts. And baby, I don't want to tell you no more. Before you DM Nate, make sure you hit that subscribe. We love y'all.